What type of piano books should I get, Ayana? So in this video, I'm going to give you some top recommended books that I use for my students. And if you watch until the end, I'm going to give you a bonus book that I really, really like that I think will help you, especially if your goal is to learn sight reading. So here's the thing. There are a ton of different types of piano books that you can start with, but you have to be very careful because especially if you are a complete beginner, you don't want to make the mistake of buying a book, which most people do. They'll go to the music store, they'll just buy a book and assume that that it's for beginners like them. And then they open the book and they're like, what is this? I can't do anything with this, right? So I want to be able to guide you with some super beginner books that you would need to get into that can help you at least get your foot in the door. Now, again, the type of books that I'm going to recommend is going to be determined by what your ultimate goal is with learning piano. So I want to kind of stick with a couple of basics. So if your goal is just get your foot in the door and just understand how piano works in terms of the relationships between the notes, if you want to get into building, your coordination between playing both hands together, if you want to understand how the theory behind how piano works, my recommendation, and there's a bunch of different series, but this series is, that's not a word. There's a series that I used for my students when I was teaching in-person lessons, and it is the Alfred Basic Piano Library. Now, the Alfred publisher, they have different types of books. I think they have theory books, they have recital books, they have repertoire, things like that. But if you are a complete beginner, the series that you need to get is the lesson book. It's very important that you get the lesson book. They have theory books, they have, again, repertoire books. And again, if you are a complete beginner, start with the first level. Now, this book here, as you can see, there are kids on the book. Now, they do have a lesson book. Get the lesson book, guys. But they have a lesson book for adults as well. And they'll actually say the adult series. I don't have the book with me on me right now, but I do have students who have the book, but they have an adult version. So if you're looking for a lesson book, and you can either get this exact one, right? This one's for kids. But you can do it as an adult too. But if you rather have the book that's for adults, then get the one that says the adult series. And the material is pretty much the same, but I guess the language is a little bit different. But it starts you at the very beginning. And what I like about this book is that it gives you explanations on, or it gives you introductions to like scales, how chords work, how rhythm works, and they kind of break all of that down to you. And then they give you exercise songs to help you apply what you're learning. And as you get through each level, the music gets a little bit more complicated, but they walk you through what you need to do. So it's like I would say it's an all-inclusive book. I mean, I still recommend that you have a teacher walk you through some of this because it doesn't have everything, but at least if you're learning by yourself, from the beginning, at least for now, this would be a good book to start out with until you get access to a teacher or a course that can give you like the fully unpacked version of how piano works. So if you're just getting in the door, this would be a good book. And this is also, even if you do have a teacher or if you are going through a course like mine, this would be a good supplementary piece of material for you to go through on your own as you're learning, another way. That's the first thing I recommend. Before I continue, I do want to let you know that I have a free 3-step piano video, or piano in 3 steps video. If you're a complete beginner and you want to get your foot in the door in terms of learning how to play the piano, the link is in the description box to sign up for that free video. And it goes over 3 keys that you need to learn, or 3 steps you need to learn in order to get into piano. So it goes over naming the keys, it goes over some sight reading basics, it goes over some theory basics, so you can kind of get an understanding of how piano works and just encourage you to learn piano as a complete beginner. The other video or the other book, now if your goal, right, is to learn how to sight read music, right? On top of getting this, right? So this gives you the basics of how to sight read. If you want to fine tune your sight reading skills, this book, this series, A Line a Day by Bastian, is a very, very good series. So you start with the first level. So once you've, gotten an understanding of how sheet music works, then you can start with these very simple A Line a Day exercises. This has different levels to it. So it starts you off with something very, very simple. And then gradually they'll start adding, both hands together, they start adding chords, things of that nature. And if you want to become proficient in playing chords, scales, because those are things that you would need to know anyway. I mentioned this in a different video. If you want to get into being proficient in playing, being able to move up and down the keyboard, being able to play chords on the whim, then this would be a good book. This is by James Bastian. It's called Scales, Chords, and Arpeggios. This book got me through music school when I was studying for my piano proficiency test, because this was a test that I had to take in order to even pass to get my music degree. This was the book that helped me learn everything I needed to know to pass that test. And I went through that test and I passed it because of this book here. So I recommend this book if, again, you want to get into chords and scales, things that you would need to know anyway in order to get into whatever genre you want to learn. Now the bonus book that I wanted to talk about, and again, this is a very powerful series for sight reading, is by Hannah Smith. It's Sight Reading Exercises for the Piano. This book it actually gets very complicated, but that's kind of the idea. So again, starts from the very beginning with super easy notes, right? Whole notes. And then by the time you get to exercise number 520, so this is an endless amount of exercises here. You see how, it gets pretty complicated, but it works you up slowly. So you don't have to be one day it's easy, next day you're like, whoa, what is this? There's 500 exercises that get you from super easy to complex and playing in different keys and whatnot. So that helps you work gradually up to where you need to be. Now, with that said, if you need more resources and things you need to know before you start learning piano, there's a whole playlist of these types of videos where it gives you tips and tools that you would need to start preparing to learn piano. That playlist should be either to the left or to the right of me on either one of these on this video. So if you like my content, please subscribe, like, comment, share. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comment section. So thank you for watching. Look forward to seeing you in a future video.